Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank. Busey, your dream, our promise. Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette. And today I'm joined by three local nonprofits, Kidz Kabaret, Century Walk Corporation, and Naperville Environment and Sustainability Task Force. You're watching Spotlight, and joining me now representing Kidz Kabaret is Gina Palasz. Welcome to the show, Gina.
Thank you for having me.
Super excited to talk to you. Love the purple sweatshirt and the logo. That's super awesome. So you've got it right on your sweatshirt. Kidz Kabaret, what is it? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, so Kidz Kabaret is a nonprofit, non-audition children's theater organization where every child is center stage. So that's working on building their confidence and sharing their talents. Our executive director, Candice Hernandez, brought this company up years ago with the idea to ensure the opportunity for every child.
I love that. And I do love the fact I've had children go through that every child gets a role, which is something that it's important to breed that confidence, like you said, right?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. So Gina, tell us, before we kind of hop in a little bit more, tell us what your role is at the organization.
Yeah, so I started Kidz Kabaret when I was about 6 or 7 years old, and now I'm actually finishing my last semester in college. So it's been a long journey, but I started performing with Candy's written plays herself, and then I got into more of the production side, and then I joined their performance groups, and I kept building that relationship up, and I actually began teaching with the kids, doing their birthday parties and summer camps. And then I was just under Megan, Candy's daughter, directing other shows and such. So that's how I got involved, and it became more of a friendship and just a family atmosphere overall at Kidz Kabaret.
Yeah, there's always a lot of energy and enthusiasm anytime you walk in the door. Tell us a little bit, hopefully we're all moving forward and theater is coming back. Tell us a little bit about some of the shows that you're hoping to do in March.
Yeah, so we're actually doing Disney's Descendants, which is awesome because a bunch of the kids are into Disney, and it's creating that movie but into musical form. So it's a whole different idea for the kids. And then they're also doing Puff's One Act, which is a little spinoff of Harry Potter.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. I haven't heard about that. And Harry Potter's celebrating a big anniversary, so I'm sure this will create a lot of enthusiasm, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, Gina, tell us where, because Kidz Kab's been around a long time, but where do you guys perform?
We perform, so we have a full building, and it's the practice side is Kidz Kabaret, and then you walk right on over into King's Cafe, which is the lobby area where everyone can join, and then we have Center Stage Theater, which is where everyone performs.
Okay. And that's, I've been lucky enough to visit over there a few times. It's really grown. I mean, it's quite a large space now.
It has. Ever since Candy started in our backyard and then went to different warehouses, performed in the Comedy Shrine downtown Naperville, and then moved to her own facility. It just expanded beyond belief.
Yeah, we've been very lucky to be able to produce our Game On show in the Center Stage Theater, which I think it seats somewhere over about 150 people, right?
It does, yes.
Yeah, it's a real hidden gem, and I think, that's something that people should check out. Talk a little bit about Kidz Kab and, if you have other things that are going on at Center Stage coming up here in the, a little bit in the next couple of months.
Yeah, we love to have outside events come in next weekend, actually. We have Funny Lady Sonia D's coming in to do a comedy group. So that's awesome to have outside people come in and share their talents with us and promote themselves as well.
Okay, so it's not just your Kidz Kab doing performances there. You allow other community groups to come in and do their performance as well.
Exactly, and we love doing that and partnering with those people so they can share their talents with us as well.
Okay, nice. And, you have some other parts to the organization in terms of like the Center Stage players and stuff. Tell us a little bit, Gina, about some of those other pieces that kind of live underneath that Fair Lady Productions umbrella.
Yes. So actually, when I was going into like middle school, high school, Candy and Megan had the idea of starting an audition group just so we could go into our high schools or even our colleges and have that practice of auditioning for someone. So we did start doing that, and we started doing children's theater, which brought in a bunch of summer camps from outside and coming in and promoting our business. And we also did some more serious productions on that side, and it just developed our confidence and our acting abilities as well.
I think that's what's so nice. I know with Candy, it is first and foremost about putting every child center stage and building that confidence. But I think what you're able to do, right, is give some longevity to that. So for the kids that, really they get that theater bug and they want to really pursue it a little bit further, it gives them that opportunity, right?
Oh, exactly. And just getting that guidance from Candy is amazing. So that's what we all wanted. And it also helps us build our relationships on stage as well as off stage with the people we're performing with.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that, Gina. Have you made a lot of good friends over the time? I mean, you said you started very young and now you're about to graduate college. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so as when I started when I was younger, I was looking up to those kids that were in middle school and I thought they were Broadway. They were awesome. And like I followed them and they took me under their wing almost as like a little brother and sister. And now they see me almost finishing college and they're off with their careers. So honestly, it became a very much a family environment and we still stay connected even through these times. So it's awesome.
You kind of raised a good question that I just want to ask because it's been on everybody's mind, obviously. COVID is a difficult time. It's really been very challenging, obviously, for the arts. What are some of your COVID protocols over at Kidz Kabaret?
Yeah, just to keep it short and concise, we are following the CDC guidelines and it's just keeping everyone spaced out with multiple rehearsal rooms. There's limited amount of people per room, one teacher per classroom, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's the key, right? It's because it's a constantly evolving situation.
Exactly.
So as we kind of wrap up, if somebody wanted to get involved in Kidz Kabaret, what would they do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say first is reach out to us from our website or even give us a call. We can give you the whole rundown of how our operation works, or even come in and tour, come see how a rehearsal is set up, or even just come watch a show. We'll just give you a little glimpse of what we have to offer, and hopefully they want to continue with us.
Gina, thank you so much for stopping by. We really appreciate it. We wish you all the best on your graduation, and good luck with the March shows.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in learning more about Kidz Kabaret and the upcoming performances, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
For more than 150 years, you've believed in Busey. Today, more than ever, we believe in you. To our healthcare workers, first responders, and local businesses, you're central to the communities we're proud to call home. Busey's grateful to partner with you and your families through life's ups and downs, today and for generations to come. Because as neighbors helping neighbors, we're in this together. Busey, grateful to serve the communities we call home.
You're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette, and joining me now are Debbie and Sangeeta. They're here representing the Century Walk Corporation. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you, Jane. It's good to be here.
Nice to have you both with me. And Debbie, I'm going to start right out with you. What is Century Walk Corporation?
Well, Century Walk is a public art initiative that was founded by Naperville lawyer Bram Babowski in 1996. He was inspired by a magazine article he had seen in the Smithsonian about an East Coast mill town that rejuvenated itself through its public art initiative. So Bram launched the organization with the mission of creating culturally significant and diverse public art throughout Naperville into the 21st century. And in the last 25 years, Century Walk has installed 52 pieces of public art throughout Naperville. And what's really kind of interesting is collectively the pieces are worth over $4 million, and 50% of that was funded privately.
Nice.
So there's a really nice, strong public-private collaboration at play.
That's wonderful. And how many pieces again?
52.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Well, and soon to be more.
Okay.
But Pande.
Okay, he's right into Sangeeta.
We'll
So
talk.
Sangeeta, and there are lots of them around town. But talk to us a little bit, Sangeeta, about some of the more recent ones.
Sure. Our recent ones were the Ladder of Light, which was a dedication to the firefighters. And that was, the artist was Paul Kuhn in 2020. That was the one we did. And then after that came, really recently, at the Sullivan's North side wall. It's called the Notable Athletes Mural for Naperville. It's got about 15 of our own homegrown athletes who were educated here in our school systems and then went on to becoming world-class athletes. And they're featured on that wall. And then after that, now we are going to have the new Gold Star Family Memorial. And that's going to be up at the Veterans Park location. We had our groundbreaking on Gold Star Memorial Mother's Day, which was September 26th of this last year.
Okay.
And we're projecting to be doing the installation, the supply chain, God's willing,
Yeah, right.
by Memorial Day, hopefully this year.
Yeah.
So we're very excited. There's a lot going on, and our future is looking extremely bright because we're going to be implementing our 10-year long-range plan, which includes a lot of public art, which is upcoming, and it's going to make our city look more and more beautiful because all the pieces are so well curated and everything is very thought out well before it's presented to the community.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bits and pieces and unknowns behind the scenes before you see our real big installation,
Yeah.
which we present. And we're very proud of all the work that Brand's done. Without him, our city would look very bland.
Yeah.
And-
Well, I think you talked about the beam of light, which I've seen at night. I mean, it's a beautiful piece of public art that particularly looks amazing when it's lit up at
does.
nighttime, right? But very different pieces there. I haven't yet seen the athletes on the Sullivan's Wall, so that's something I'm going to drive by on the way home today.
You should.
Yeah,
It's
very
worth it.
different.
It's got a lot of diversity and it's got a lot of different age groups, a lot of ethnicities, and a very, very well-rounded representation of our city as of now.
Yeah.
So it's current
Nice.
with our populace.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
yeah.
Oh, I know that probably
you.
when I go and I look, we'll have covered a number of those athletes on Naperville Sports Weekly. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see who's on that wall.
Well, thank you.
Debbie, talk a little bit about what is in the works for 2022.
So we're looking at a lot of different kinds of installations and maybe some of the things that we haven't done before, maybe some temporary art like Chalk the Walk, kind of exhibits or
We have
kinetic work.
Yes.
We could do something like that. Brandon has even talked about, let's see, the artist is Seward Johnson, and he's a sculptor. He recently passed away,
Right.
but he makes large format, large. So he was responsible for, I don't know if you remember in Chicago in 2014, the giant Marilyn Monroe sculpture.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
25 feet tall, 40,000 pounds sculpture. But what the organization does is they rent out these large format pieces. And they've done several recognizable pieces of work that you can rent for a year or 2 or 3 months or whatever. And that was one of the things that Century Walk had looked at, like bringing in one of those significant pieces for a short-term rental here. But it's so impactful, it stimulates tourism and everything else. It's a real draw to the city to
It's
have.
like a traveling exhibit of sorts. So you
Yes.
can rent it for your city and then it moves on. And so it gives our entire population time to look at it and admire it and just take photos. It's I wish Dick Tracy was a travel sculpture.
Yeah. Oh, I
like him
because
here.
I want it in
He
our
needs
city.
to live here.
But it's so beautiful and it's such a crowd. It's a showstopper.
Yes.
And it's one of our absolutely wonderful pieces.
Yeah, it's a signature piece. I remember even, when we had the flood, and we
Right.
could still see Dick Tracy was still above
He
the
was
flood,
still there.
which was
He was
awesome,
watching over.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, talk a little bit, Sangeeta, other things that you want people to know about Century Walk and the public art that you display.
Well, we are very, very staunch with our mission, and we want everybody to be able to participate in our organization. And we want to make sure that the public is aware that we are actively recruiting for our board of directors. We want everybody with any passion or any business interest in our corporation. It's a nonprofit, and if you would like to volunteer with us, we would love that public involvement.
Even in these chilly times, one can
Right.
do a little bit of a virtual tour, right, of the
Absolutely.
pieces that are across this community.
And that was one of the things that we had talked about during the pandemic. While galleries were closed,
Right.
you were able to take
Do
advantage
virtual.
of Century Walk. It's an
Exactly.
outdoor gallery. It's on display 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's there to be enjoyed.
Right.
At no cost.
At no
And so,
cost,
yeah.
which is always
Yeah,
nice,
It's
right?
52 pieces, so there's a lot of walking tours, there's a lot of hide and seek, and hey, oh my goodness, this sculpture is hiding here, let's go look for it. So
A lot of photo ops,
it's a
lot
lot,
of selfie photo
it's a
ops.
lot. Yes, and there's more coming.
Well, that's
so we're very
wonderful.
excited.
That's wonderful. Well, listen, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much to both of you for stopping by, and we appreciate you putting the art on display.
Thank you so
you.
much. It's a pleasure speaking to you, and we hope to see you more often.
To find out more about the Century Walk Corporation, please go and visit their website. Don't go away. We're coming right back after a few short messages.
For more than 150 years, you've believed in Busey. Today, more than ever, we believe in you. To our healthcare workers, first responders, and local businesses, you're central to the communities we're proud to call home. Busey's grateful to partner with you and your families through life's ups and downs, today and for generations to come. Because as neighbors helping neighbors, we're in this together. Busey, grateful to serve the communities we call home.
Naperville Crime Stoppers.
Yes, I'd like to report some suspicious activity in my neighborhood. How does this work?
Yes, thanks for calling. Your call is anonymous, and I'll not ask for your name. Instead, you'll be identified by a tip number. In a few weeks, call back with the tip number you received, and I will let you know the status of your tip. If an arrest is made, you could receive a reward up to $1,000.
How do I get the reward money if you don't know who I am?
Well, when you call back, we set up a time and a place to drop the money. You will be safe, and nobody will know you gave Crime Stoppers a tip.
Okay, well, here's what's going on.
Welcome back to Spotlight. And joining me now from the Naperville Environment and Sustainability Task Force, or NEST for short, is Kathy Clarkin. Welcome to the show, Kathy.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Really nice to have you. And we're going to just start right off with, what is NEST and what's the mission?
Okay, thank you for that question. NEST was started actually in 2018 by a group of Naperville residents that realized that most of our electricity here in Naperville comes from coal. And that's problematic if you're concerned about climate change. But in 2019, we became an official city task force. And so our mission kind of expanded. So our mission is to assist, inform, and advise both the city government and the community at large on sustainability issues and greenhouse gas reduction. So we have about 50 volunteers involved in that process.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, so now I've heard about this thing called Sustainable Naperville or Naperville Sustainable 2036. Talk a little bit about what that initiative is all about, Kathy.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that opportunity to talk about our report, which is Sustainable Naperville 2036. We're really proud of it. It's our foundation for action on sustainability and climate change here in Naperville. And it was created by our volunteers. They did so much research, talked to experts, found case studies, best practices, and wrote this report that we presented to City Council at a workshop last year. And they adopted many of the recommendations that we put in our report. So we're really happy to say that the city is already working on some things that we recommended. And it's not just a report for the city government, it's a report for the whole community as well. So we would encourage people to check out our website and take a look at the report there.
Okay, so give me some examples of some of the programs that have been implemented by the city.
Okay, great. Yeah, we're already working on some really great stuff. One of the projects that we're really excited about that we've just started meeting on is we know that in Naperville, people are really buying a lot of electric vehicles. It's really popular here. And to make that more equitable and accessible to people who maybe don't have a garage to charge their electric vehicle, they're working on building codes so that apartment buildings and places of work will have charging stations too. And then we have some other programs we're working on, tree planting and native plant planting, replacing gas-powered lawn equipment with electric lawn equipment that's less polluting, it's quieter, it's easier to maintain. We're really excited about working with the city on a walkability and bikeability study because, getting around more easily and safely is going to be important for creating a sustainable future. And we're always talking to the city about how we can make a just transition away from our coal electricity to more renewable energy. So lots going on.
Yeah, that is a lot of things that you've got going on. And I know I can do a shout out to my neighbor because he uses an electric lawnmower. We were sort of very interested in that when he first started. So that's interesting. Talk a little bit, if you would. I mean, obviously you've got some projects going here, but what can the average Napervillian, what should they know about the climate change and what can they do to reduce their carbon footprint?
Yeah, one of the things that I think is really important to talk about when we talk about climate change is people think about rising sea levels and melting ice caps and polar bears and things like that. And all those things seem kind of at least distant in space from us, or even distant, like things are going to happen in the future. But climate change is actually impacting Naperville here and now. And if we don't do things to address it, to address global warming, it's going to even have even greater impacts. But the good news is that there are lots of solutions and there are lots of ways for people to get involved in those solutions. So one way is, you mentioned the carbon footprint. People can figure out how they're moving around, how they're heating and cooling their homes, and think about how they can bring down their carbon footprint. But even more than that, what we really want is to create new systems and policies where you don't even have to think about it on an individual level. So for example, if you buy an electric vehicle and all that electricity is coming from renewable energy, you're not thinking about the number of miles that you've driven and how much carbon you're putting into the air. So we would love for people to get involved with NEST or other organizations to work towards these big, more systemic kind of policy changes.
Okay, so it sounds like on the one hand, many hands make light work and we can all be just smarter in our contribution, right? But you're looking, obviously as an organization, at those larger, more systemic kinds of processes to be put in place.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, now that always sounds, and I know we hear this all the time, expensive. So is it?
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to kind of dispel that kind of really common misconception that it's just going to be too expensive to address climate change, so that we can't do it. But our report actually recommends actions that are investments that will have a payoff in the long term. So if you think about people who put solar on their homes, yes, you pay money up front, but in the long run, you save money. So a lot of climate solutions are these kind of investments that pay off. And they also have payoff in terms of cleaner air and job creation and healthier communities. So, and we also know based on research that not addressing climate change is going to be expensive as we have more, extreme weather and so forth. So we are really optimistic about our ability to make progress on this.
Well, I think it's certainly terrific that the city has engaged with a large number of volunteers who are giving of their time, because that's a resource as well, and it has a capacity. So the more people that get engaged, the bigger the capacity to solve some of those problems. As we wrap up here, Kathy, how can people get involved with you?
Thanks. Of course, we have a website we'd love people to visit. It's called sustainnaperville.org is the web address. And you can find our report there and sign up to volunteer. So we have 7 different committees that are active: energy, transportation, waste, building and development, natural resources, community engagement, and city engagement. So folks can sign up on our website to participate and we also like to invite folks to come to our monthly community meeting, which is open to the public. You can register for the Zoom link on our website. And the nice thing about that meeting is we have an educational component with a speaker at the beginning of each meeting, so you can learn more about these issues. And if you miss a meeting, they'll be on YouTube.
Okay, love it. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for stopping by and telling us all about Nest. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And if you want to get more information about Nest, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight. I'd like to thank all of my guests for joining us on Spotlight, and our friends at Busey Bank for their generous sponsorship of today's show. To learn more about the organizations featured on today's episode, please go and visit our website at nctv17.com. And to stay informed about what's happening in our community, sign up to receive our daily news update and like and follow us on Facebook. For Spotlight, I'm Jane Wernette. Thank you for watching. Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank. Busey, your dream, our promise.